Hi guys, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel. So most of you guys already know my story. You guys have seen the videos that I put out. You know I'm currently TTCing. You also kind of know the backstory of that, being that I had a tubal reversal. Now, I have a video up here, which I will put in the description box if you have not seen it. It's called My Biggest Regret, and it's when I shared the story of me tying my tubes. Some of the details I'm sharing today, somewhat, it is directly connected to that because I had a number of C-sections and I just kind of wrote myself out of having any more kids because back when I had them, there was a bit of a limit, and the limit was 3 back then from what I recall. But when I went in to even have my last child and I did indicate to my doctor that I was planning on having a C-section, even he questioned me and said, "Are you sure?" So I guess the limit was kind of open because it wasn't like he knew he was going to perform my 3rd C-section, and he wasn't all for me necessarily tying my tubes. He questioned it and as to whether it was a good idea because I was fairly young. So that's kind of where this video is going today, in me sharing my journey with having all my C-sections. And I'll give you a little bit of the background about them as well. And I guess as to what led to this regret. I talked about tying my tubes being my biggest regret, but I also really, really regret having my C-sections. I don't regret my kids. Obviously, I'm happy that they came and they're here safe. At the same time, I know the C-sections probably lent to me in a beneficial way, but I can't still help but still feel some type of way of after having it. And I'll explain to you why it actually bothers me. At the beginning, having my first daughter, from I was 5 months, the doctor indicated that I needed to have a C-section. She just said I was having a big baby, and she gathered that just based on the measurement initially. My baby was born weighing 9 pounds 12 ounces 2 weeks early, so therefore she was a big baby. At the same time, I don't know how much she would have weighed in the following 2 weeks had I gone to full term. And I am aware that people have had large babies and they have successfully delivered them vaginally. The fact that she told me that early on, it freaked me the heck out. And so the night of labor, I labored at home, went in to have this baby, went into the hospital after what I thought wasn't labor. I was in active labor because when I got there, I was 9 centimeters. They asked me if I wanted to push, and I said no out of fear based on what the doctor had told me. And I just had all these images of myself, of the baby possibly being stuck, or all these different things that could have happened, and it just terrified me. So I didn't want to put my child at risk, nor myself. So I just kind of went with the C-section. I was young. I didn't question the doctor. I figured they have my best interest in mind. And who's to say she didn't? But I am also aware that the doctor that I had has a high C-section rate. I know that they also get paid more doing C-sections, and I'll never know if it was just my best interest or what. So after having the first C-section, I was inclined to have the second and the third because I don't remember ever being asked if I wanted to have a VBAC or ever really, at that point I was so young and naive that I didn't even fully do my own research to be like, oh, I'll try this. I knew that it existed, but I read things, and from what I was reading, it just seemed kind of nerve-wracking. So I was just like, you know what, it's easier to do it this way. And I figured 3 sounded like a good number. I didn't think I was gonna have more kids. I didn't think I wanted to have more kids than that. And so it wasn't a big deal. So after the third one, or during the delivery of my third one, I was like, yep, please tie my tubes, I'm done. And I was fine with that decision for years and years, 8 years to be exact, until, my heart brought me back here, and I paid to have the reversal, and have since had a baby. Now, the reason why I dread it is because, to me, I guess I still have like a negative feeling towards the idea that other people put a restriction on the number of kids you can have. And I'm not saying the doctors did this or did it indirectly or directly, because I made the decision too when I was like, yep. But just the idea of that being a deciding factor as to how many kids I can have, it's a tough pill to swallow. despite tying my tubes because of the number of C-sections I already had, another part of the reason why I tied it was because of just worrying about what other people would think about me having so many children. Yeah, just worrying about what people would think about me having more than 3 kids. And and then I grew up and got to this point where I realized, oh wow, like I'd love to have more kids and it's okay. However, now my C-sections, my past C-sections have all, they have a repercussion in a sense. They're there. And despite my doctor not saying anything to me, he knows that I wanted to have more kids. And after Zoe, he gave me the okay to go ahead and have more. I don't know what the limits are. I know that my last C-section was a little bit more difficult than the rest, only because I've had so many other surgeries, or all the C-sections as well. So I know that like I'm just hopeful that this time around that, everything would work itself out and my delivery would go really well. And, right now the number is, if we were to have another one, that would be 5 kids. I don't necessarily have any plans to have more, but just having that window open would be great. And that's the thing that I dismiss, because what if I do in fact want to have more? I feel like those C-sections are hindering me, because it does put like a limit, it can, C-sections, despite them being safe and safe for delivering your baby, they can be dangerous, and they can take, you can lose your life, and there are other things to consider. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've had 4. I know today that's not necessarily the thing anymore. It's not 4, is not 3, isn't the magic number anymore, because now I know people who've had 4 and 5 and 6 C-sections. A lady even came on my other channel telling me that she's had 9. So I know that there's not a magic number anymore, but it's just important to take in like the safety factor when you're delivering via C-section. I also know that some women opt to choose to have C-sections because, I don't know, they said I guess they can plan their birth and whatnot. I remember when that was like a big trend. I don't know if it's a trend anymore, but I do know that some women did this. Now, my one message to you would be, know the number of kids you want to have. And if it exceeds a certain number, just keep in mind that maybe it's better to try the vaginal way if you can. If I wouldn't go to my way and choose to have one, because it does affect your ability to have a large family if that's what you desire. I didn't know what I know. I didn't know what I know now then. I know it now, and I would like to just, I guess, shed light on it and share it with you guys so you guys can make better choices. But I wish it was something I wish I had known, because had I known it, I would have just opted to try and not kind of, or advocated for my own self, where I put my foot down and say, no, this is what I want to try, so long as there weren't any health issues. And at the point where I had the C-section, there weren't any health issues aside from the fact that the baby was big. And I also had gestational diabetes, but I don't think that was the main reason why I ended up having to have the surgery. So yeah, that's my overall feelings on having 4 C-sections. I would love to hear from you guys down in the comment section below, and let me know if you've had a C-section, how many of you had, how were they, and how did they get progressively better as time went, or progressively worse? Because I feel like mine got progressively better. The first one was like it was like bam, and it hit me like a brick, because this is my first time having surgeries, my first time having yada yada, and it was like, wow, it was all new. But after having the second and the third, even my fourth, after having the tubal reversal, that was my easiest. I found I recovered well, and perhaps it had to do with time. Hubby was more available. We were students back then, and he had exams always around the time when I was going to deliver. He didn't have time off, because you can't just take time off university, and so it just made for tight restraints around like having the help available to me to help take care of baby so I could heal. But now, obviously, in our mature life, as we've grown up, we've had just, I don't know, the resources, his job allowing him to have 2 to 3 weeks off to be able to help me, and him being hands-on here, and I don't have to worry. I could just take care of the baby the whole time. Like, that was really good, and just relax. I could just sit and put my foot up and relax. It's kind of like how it really should be. And I guess it's like a sense of when you are mature and in the right place in life and you have your kids. That's how it usually should be, or how it is. But I know life doesn't work like that, because there are adults who still don't have that exact scenario despite having made it somewhere in their life or whatever. So that's what my take on having 4 C-sections. It is a bit of a regret having beginning with one. It's not even like regretting them all, but it's beginning with my first C-section, because it created a domino effect, and you know, the reason why we're here now. So any kids further on that I have will be delivered via C-section. Fingers crossed, praying to God, because if it's not, that's usually not a good thing. I don't know how else, because I'm pretty sure no doctors out there ever promote VBACs after 4 C-sections. So I'm going to end on that note. I would love to hear about your guys' story down in the comment section below. Don't hesitate to share, and yeah, fill a girl in on just how your experiences, because that is the beauty of this all. That's why this channel is called Beauty by Chick, because there's beauty in life, there's beauty in everything. So, you know, I'm sure the end, even in a crazy birth story, there's a beautiful baby at the end. So I hope you guys are. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and much love. Bye guys.